Let's bring in now trial lawyer and legal analyst Richard Schoenstein. All right, Richard, always great to talk to you. I know you have lots of thoughts here. Dr. Fauci was granted, as you know, a presidential pardon by Biden. So what does the scope of that pardon actually include?
The scope of the pardon would have included any federal crimes that predate the pardon, which I think was in January 2025. In theory, that's the scope. So it wouldn't include state charges. It wouldn't include charges that postdate the pardon. And it wouldn't include charges if, for example, he testified and he allegedly lied under oath. It wouldn't cover that.
All right, so this is a committee within the Senate. So what power does this committee have in accordance with a court of law, and what would happen next?
Well, the committee can do what it just did. It can vote to find him in contempt of Congress. Ordinarily, it would send that to the full Senate to have a vote, but they don't want to do that because they don't have the votes. You need 60 in the Senate to sign off on contempt, and they're never going to get that. So they're going to send it directly to the Department of Justice, which will investigate and will determine whether or not they're going to bring criminal charges. There's no actual punishment unless criminal charges are brought and sustained.
All right, so what would it take, Richard, for a criminal case to be brought, and then what could potentially happen from there?
Well, I think they would have to. I mean, it's hard to find him in contempt, Nichole. He was exercising a constitutional right not to incriminate himself. There are pending investigations of him in states. You just referenced he's been subpoenaed in 3 other states. He was before a committee full of members who have time and again said they want to put him in jail. It was plainly adversarial, and he invoked his constitutional right not to incriminate himself. So people can yell and scream about that being bad, but it's not illegal.
And just to clarify, Richard, this all stems from Dr. Fauci not answering questions in last week's hearing and instead opting to plead the Fifth.
That's my understanding of it. Yeah, it all stems from last week's hearing and is opting not to take the Fifth. And one other thing about the pardon, I've heard it said for several years now that there's something wrong with Joe Biden's pardons, that they weren't appropriate. So there was no guarantee for Dr. Fauci that people wouldn't challenge that pardon, even to the extent it existed. He had every reason to want to take the Fifth Amendment.
All right, last question for you. So Republicans on the committee blocked a vote that would have asked the DOJ to give Dr. Fauci immunity. If lawmakers truly wanted answers, would it make sense for him to have been granted immunity?
Absolutely. If all they really wanted was information at the hearing, they could have given him at least use immunity so that nothing he said at that hearing could be used against him in any proceeding anywhere. That might have obviated the need to take the Fifth Amendment, and refusing to do that set this on the course that it ended up going down.
All right, trial lawyer, legal analyst Richard Schoenstein, thanks so much for your time.
Always a pleasure.